All right, perfect. So as I mentioned, welcome parents, guardians, and of course, our class of 2025. I'm Tina Rivera, the principal, proud principal of AITE. For 2 decades, I've been with the school and worn pretty much every hat from teacher to administrative intern to assistant principal. And this is my 8th year as principal. And this year, I was so fortunate to announce our new assistant principal, who was actually the first administrator ever hired over or through the virtual process. And her name is Christina Colmenares. And I kind of feel like pandemic years are similar to dog years, like they're a lot longer. So it feels like she's been with us for a long time, but believe it or not, she's just rounding that corner, almost a year, not quite, but almost there. And as I said, we're very fortunate to have her. She's been a tremendous asset to our school, and I'm going to let her say hello to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Colmenares. I am so happy to be the assistant principal of AITE. I'm hoping I'm kicking off my 2 decades at this school. When I got this job, I was so excited, but I cannot tell you, families that are new to the school, how welcome you will feel and how welcome your children will be. Any change or any transition is overwhelming, and there's a lot of nerves and anxiety and excitement. But I have found this school community to be so welcoming and embracing, and the students are wonderful, the staff is wonderful. So it does feel like I've been here for longer, partly because it's such an amazing and established family. So welcome, and I'm so excited that you are now part of the AITE family, and I can't wait to meet all of you in person. And I see a lot of familiar names, so that's very exciting too.
Thank you, Mrs. Colmenares. So as you know, a mission statement is a short statement of goals and values of a company, an organization, or in this case, our school. And this is AIT's mission statement, which actually in the last 2.5 years kind of underwent some tweaking as part of our preparation for our decennial accreditation visit, which I'll talk about momentarily. But the mission of AITE is to maintain a safe and supportive environment which nurtures the mind, body, and heart of every student. Our dedicated educators are committed to providing a rigorous, STEAM-focused college preparatory curriculum designed to prepare and inspire students to reach their highest potential and to contribute positively to our global community. So essentially, all of the decisions that we make as a school, whether they're curriculum-based, whether they have to do with after-school activities or special programs, we really see, does this fit our mission? Do these programs, curriculum, goals, et cetera, fit our mission statement? And that drives everything that we do. And as you can see, one of the things we kind of support the Stanford Public Schools, you've heard their mind, body, and heart. Because, I mean, obviously we know that schools are in the business of teaching academics, but we really focus on the whole child. So academics is obviously an important aspect, but we believe the physical and social emotional well-being of our students is just as important. Students really aren't ready to learn if they're not physically and emotionally safe and in a good environment. So we really do try to not only provide, but maintain that safe and supportive environment. And obviously, you know, we're a STEAM-focused school, and the A is really our fantastic arts program, which there's a traditional drawing and painting curriculum as well, but we also have a lot of great digital art classes and music, digital music as well, as long as our foundation classes. Okay, why does it keep freezing? Let's see, I may have to start and come back in. Let's see. Sorry about this. Technology is a double-edged sword always. And I'm going to have to stop sharing and go back to sharing again. And then let's fast forward. Okay, so I want to talk a minute about AITE's vision of the graduate. And if this is your first child in high school, you may be saying, wait a minute, my child didn't even enter 9th grade yet, and she's already fast forwarding to their senior year. Well, yes, in a way I am. And part of this is because all schools, whether it's formal or not, really have a vision of what their graduate will look like at the end of 4 years. And believe me, it goes by really fast. I know some of you may already have high school students, current students in high school, so you know what I'm talking about, or you may even have a child in college now. And actually, I know that many of you do. So you know how quickly it goes by. So we actually, over the process of about 2.5 years, went through the process of developing a formal vision of the graduate statement. And oops, didn't mean to fast forward that quickly, but essentially we came up with 6 areas. So if you look at these areas, a graduate communicates effectively, a graduate collaborates effectively, they can apply critical thinking skills to solve problems and evaluate information, they participate responsibly in their local and global communities, they demonstrate resiliency, and also they demonstrate good moral character. So if we were to summarize those things, essentially your child by the end of their senior year, hopefully will be an effective communicator, a selfless collaborator, a critical thinker, a conscientious citizen. He or she will demonstrate resiliency and good character. So again, this vision of the graduate doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. And students constantly, from the moment they step foot in school as a freshman, they will be developing these skills. They will have opportunities to practice and build these skills. And, you know, students learn at different paces, so they will get there. And you're going to hear from some of our students tonight. And the students who are speaking, when you do speak, can you please, when you introduce yourself, also say what grade you're in? So you will see that these students were freshmen at AITE once, not that long ago. And they certainly are meeting that vision, and they are on that path, and in many ways have attained proficiency and will exceed the standard in those areas. Okay, so it looks like every time I admit someone, I have to stop sharing. So I'm sorry about this, but we will get there. We've all learned to hopefully to be more patient during the pandemic, especially with technology. So, okay. So I mentioned a little bit that schools are formally required when they go through the accreditation process to develop a vision of the graduate statement. And so AITE actually has its second decennial visit. So it's been 20 years. I had been with the school from the beginning. So I went through our first decennial visit 10 years ago. And next spring, we'll be going through our second. And essentially, a visiting team will come and of a bunch of educators and could be superintendents, teachers, people from the NEASC organization, which stands for New England Association of Schools and Colleges. And they're going to spend about 3 days visiting classes, examining student work, and speaking to students, parents, district administrators, teachers, really to learn more about the school. And they're going to look at the progress that we've made in the areas that we identified on our school's growth plan. Every school is working on something that they determine, that is a priority area. And so the NEASC team will be looking to see what our progress has been since their visit last November for the collaborative, actually 2 Novembers ago, when they were able to come into the building for the collaborative conference visit. All right, now you're going to hear from someone other than myself right now in a very, actually I saw a couple in the area, but I have a few parents that are on this webinar tonight. But Danette Melchioni is one of our co-vice presidents of the Parent Teacher Student Organization. They're amazing organization. I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about it before I say anything, but these are the current officers. So with that, Danette, would you just speak a little bit, tell them about your children, one son who's graduated and one who we have with us?
Hi, as Tina said, I'm Danette Melchioni. I'm a local Stanford. My kids have gone through all Stanford public schools. I have one older son who's in college who graduated from AITE, and I have a second one who's a junior at AIT currently. When you start any school, you're automatically a member of the PTSO. So just don't wait for your invite to get involved and get on board, because you're automatically signed up. Speaking of signing up, if you'd like to get hear about some different things that are going on. I know when my children went on to high school, I joined the AIT newsletter, and I got onto the Facebook page, and just so I can kind of get a feel for the things that are happening and going on at the school, and kind of get versed and comfortable with it. We have a Facebook page. It's AIT Family and Friends. Feel free to go on there, join now. You can see different things, opportunities that are coming up. In addition to, we have a newsletter which comes out weekly that you'll be signed up to automatically when you registered. We'll get those emails and make sure that you get on there. If for some reason you don't get on there, there's an email address on here. It's AITEPTSO1@gmail. Or if you get off this call today and you have any questions and you want to kind of reach out to someone, just email that email address and somebody will get back to you and hopefully answer your questions. In addition to, for incoming freshmen, a nice little gift for graduation parents is to get your student all set up with their spirit wear. So we have a spirit wear sale that's on sale. We have a link that's out on the Facebook page, and if anyone's interested, you can go onto the school page. It's under AIT gear. You could see it, and there's a link on there. You can order online and then come to the school main office to pick it up. They have some nice bundles, which has like a t-shirt and a string backpack and stuff. It's kind of a nice introductory to the school, and to kind of get involved and get your school spirit kicked off nicely. And it's a great opportunity to help support the school. The FBLA team runs that school spirit spirit wear purchases. FBLA is the Future Business Leaders of America, which is one of the many great clubs that we have at the school. They've really expanded that club this year and added more into it, in addition to debate. And, I know there's some of the debate kids on here that can tell you more about that. They've done exceptionally well on there. So there's a great opportunities to get involved, not only for your student, but for you also. So it's, the last 4 years are going to fly by like a blink of an eye. And now I have my son going to be a senior next year, and I'm lining up what I'm going to do to keep myself busy, because I'm going to be officially an empty nester. So I'm now looking for other ways to volunteer. So get involved, enjoy it now while you can, while you're here. And it'll go by a blank, and your participation is appreciated. It's not like when you're in middle school and elementary school with a large amount of volunteer time. You can pick and choose to be on a scholarship committee or a grants committee, or there's different ways that you can give back. So we look forward to meeting all of you and working with you.
Thank you, Danette. And as Danette mentioned, spirit wear is a big deal. A lot of times we'll have spirit wear days where we ask kids to wear their school colors, which are black and gold, or to wear AITE apparel. So definitely it's nice if when everybody is representing, as the kids will say. So, all right, now I have students who will introduce themselves. And as I said, please let them know what grade you're in as well. Here to speak about a couple of special programs unique to AITE. And we've had them for quite some time, and so they're well established. And those are our Project Lead the Way pre-engineering and biomedical courses. So we'll start with pre-engineering, and I have two students, Abbas and Kevin. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'll start first. My name is Kevin Fleischer. I'm a junior at AIT, and I'll start talking about the sort of the courses that you're going to take if you do go into pre-engineering track at AIT. So I think it's one of the greatest tracks for me. I really was a hands-on learner. And so going into either biomedical or pre-engineering was really the right choice for me, because you're able to, do projects and do a lot of hands-on work instead of, learning from a book and all that stuff. It's really through experience that you're learning in these courses. So in freshman year, you're going to take a class known as IED, or Intro to Engineering Design. And so in this class, you're going to focus on 3D modeling, 3D printing. You're going to be able to use the 3D printers that we have at our school, which are really amazing, all the facilities that we have. You're going to learn about the design process, and you're going to start to learn about the different areas of engineering that you could go into. Then in sophomore year, you're going to a class called Digital Electronics, and that focuses more on the electrical side of engineering. So you're going to make circuits, design them on the computer, all that good stuff. And then in junior year, you finally take computer science. You can either take that as an AP course or as a regular honors or CP course. And so that just more focuses on, the coding, programming, software side of all the engineering that you're going to be doing. And then for senior year, that's where a boss can come in and tell you what you're going to be doing for your senior year for pre-engineering.
Thanks, Kevin.
Right, so thank you, Kevin, for speaking on those courses. And hello, everybody. My name is Abbas Mohsen, and I'm a senior at AIT. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the final stop on your engineering pathway, which is the capstone course EDD, or Engineering Development and Design. This course is special because it combines the likes of all the courses that Kevin just talked about in your final senior project. So essentially what it is one large project that you work on for the entire year. The end goal of this class is to teach students about the process of engineering. And I really do stress process more than anything because it relates a lot more to the flexibility within the course, which I'm going to get into right now. So what I mean by that is a PLTW engineer has the option of taking multiple courses. For example, they can either take computer science, like Kevin just said, or they can take civil architecture. They can either take digital electronics, or they can take principles of engineering. So the capstone class itself doesn't focus on the end goal, but it focuses on the different sub-disciplines that you have completed within your freshman, sophomore, and junior years. So for example, somebody who takes computer science may have a final project that's focused more on coding, whereas somebody who takes civil architecture may have a final project more focused on building something like a building. But by far, what I love most about the course is the collaboration that you can have with peers. The problem that I'm tackling right now for my senior project is how to effectively sort out waste in households. The main problem is that every time you tell someone about what they can do to help the environment, they'll say they care, but they never really do it. So my solution is going to include a much more efficient way for waste management, which is both helpful to the consumer and the environment. So in order to do this, I design a system that fits with most homes. And to do that, I collaborate with one student who's taken architecture, and then I use my computer science skills to code a program that automatically sorts and manages this waste. So it's really a combination of everything that you do, and it's that process that leads you up to that final senior project. In addition, after you take your junior and senior courses, we have a hard hat and safety vest ceremony that we do to honor the students who've taken those courses, which is definitely a nice ceremony to have. Ours is going to be on the 13th, so next Thursday. And it really does help, congratulate people that have taken those courses, and it kind of builds community with all the engineers at school.
Thank you, Abbas. And now here we have two students to speak about our Project Lead the Way biomedical program. Nicholas and Mahi, would you please introduce yourselves and state your grade and tell us about the biomedical program?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Mahi and I'm currently a sophomore at...
Can you guys hear her, Mahi? I can't hear you that well.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, that's better, thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Mahi and I'm currently a sophomore at AITE. And I'm in the PLTW biomedical program. Do you want to introduce yourself, Nick?
Yeah, so my name is Nick, and I'm a junior at AIT, and I'm also part of the PLTW biomedical program. So
it's so good to meet all of you, and I'm so excited to be sharing a little bit about the PLTW biomedical program here at AITE. So I currently take the Human Body Systems class this year, and last year I took the Principles of Biomedical Sciences class. So personally, I chose to enroll in the program because I love science and medicine, and this course was something I believed would give me exposure to the biomedicine field. And now that I'm in it, I definitely think it does. So this year in HBS was a little different than other years. However, it was still very enjoyable, and in my opinion, it was a great learning opportunity. So in this class, we focused mainly on the human body systems like the anatomy. So for instance, we learned about the skeletal system, the cardiovascular system, the digestive system, as well as many more. And we also learn about the biology, which in this class is similar to learning the reasoning as to how the body systems work and why they do. So I'll start off by talking about my favorite part of the class, and that would be the case studies that we do. So case studies are basically information that is presented to us within a unit, and we go through the process of understanding a patient's symptoms and coming to a diagnosis as well as a treatment plan. And in other years, I would say that the labs are my personal favorite because they're a lot of fun. And while we didn't get to do many this year, last year we did do a variety of them. For example, we analyzed the DNA of a strawberry. And I believe the teachers are working on a way to do this next year more safely. So I'm looking forward to that. And in regards to the PLTW Principles of Biomedical Sciences class, which is what incoming freshmen would take, the curriculum I felt was more focused on forensic sciences, such as DNA and analyzing fingerprints and things like that. And then later into the year, we had a focus on diabetes, sickle cell, the heart, and infectious diseases. So on these topics, when we were in person, we actually got to go around, we analyzed fingerprints, and we did things in that medium. And then when we went virtual, we did a couple of virtual labs, so that was also very interesting. And a lot of these topics that we did cover were also in biology courses in my experience, which was also really cool because you got exposure to that in your freshman year. And then I would say that a potential caveat of the course is that there is a level of self-study that you do on the PLTW program, but the teachers will gladly help you, and there's a good amount of group work and collaboration that's embedded into the program itself. So for me personally, asking questions and collaborating, it definitely helps throughout the course and gives me more perspective on the topic, and I'm able to process it better. And one of the fun parts of the program, in addition, is the PLTW White Coat Ceremony. So in this ceremony, students who have a yearly average of above a C in the class are invited, and sophomores get scrub tops, juniors get lab coats, and seniors get graduation cords. So everyone also receives a certificate. And this is one of the very enjoyable aspects of the program after freshman year. And that's my piece. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hear my take on the program.
Thank you, Mahi. Nick, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, so again, I'm a junior at AITE, and currently I'm taking the medical interventions course, which is the third year course in the PLTW biomedical program. And if I'm going to be honest, I joined the biomedical track because my mom signed me up for it. And I was kind of unaware at first. And I walked into room 309 for my first class of PBS, Principles of Biomedical Sciences. And we began to learn about a fictional character and how she died. And her name was Anna Garcia, kind of like a spoiler alert. We did assignments in PBS, like diagramming the heart and all of the arteries, valves, chambers, and veins within it. And we learned about the structure of DNA and how our body uses it as basically as directions and why it makes us look the way we look. And we also learned about the contents of blood and how each of them play a significant role in our body. And in HBS, like Mahi was talking about, was the second course of biomedical track. We kind of dug deeper into the body to understand each of like the body systems, which include the nervous system, digestive, endocrine, skeletal, muscular, respiratory, and so on and so forth. And how they each play a vital role to the body. And some of my favorite labs, and I pray to God that next year that you guys can do labs the freshmen that are now here, because they're probably the star of that course for me. Some of my favorite labs and assignments that we would have done that you guys supposed to be doing, but if COVID didn't get in the way, would be dissecting like a cow heart, which was very fun, and a cow eye, and just seeing the different parts of it and just getting a hands-on approach. And as well as seeing a real set of lungs inflate and deflate. We learned about, in MI, we learned about how there are different types of medical interventions and how they all work in harmony to cure a body of various viral or bacterial infections. And we learned about how different types of medication heal those bacterial and viral infections. We also kind of dug into cancer and how it attacks the body, and which types of therapies can treat the body and how, such as chemotherapy, radiation therapy, immunotherapy, stuff like that. Through my 3 years here at AIT, as well as in the biomedical track, I met probably the greatest group of supportive and fantastic teammates, classmates, and friends. And I don't really know what I would do if I didn't have them to have my back, or if I didn't have their back. The assignments in PBS, HBS, and MI are all pretty geared to be very collaborative and to work with friends where you can help them and then they can help you. And pretty much for me, these courses created a really fantastic community. Like I said, I didn't know what I would do if they weren't here. Probably the most important part of these courses for me was how they literally pointed me in the direction of my hopefully future career in medicine. I came into AIT really kind of wanting to pursue something in forensic science, but after taking these courses and learning more about the human body and HBS and how amazing it is, it just made me want to pursue medicine for the rest of my life. And I love science. That's kind of my thing. And it may not be for everybody, but this course was pretty much life-changing, to say the least. So thank you.
Wow, thank you, Nick. And I didn't know that's why you signed up. That's kind of a good story. Always learning something about our students. So going back to the opening where we talked about AIT's vision of the graduate, you just heard from 3 students. You're going to hear from another student momentarily. And so you see like everything that they're doing is practice, they're building skills. I mean, they're so articulate. This wasn't scripted. And, you know, Mahi was, is a sophomore this year. So she was only a freshman, the year before. And Kevin and Nick and Abbas is a senior this year, but Nick and Kevin are juniors. And my goodness, I remember when Kevin was a freshman because he had 2 brothers before him, ahead of him. So it goes by really fast, but everything that we do is preparing and giving kids the skills to meet that vision of the graduate. And just really quickly, in this program, when I talk about electives, these kids are not only taking these 4-year sequence of courses, but in the biomedical program, they're also taking science classes, another science class consecutively. So a lot of these kids will end up with minimum of 8 science credits before they graduate, and most of them will end up with more because as their electives, like you heard Nick say, he wants to go into medicine. So how many credits do you have in science now, Nick?
I'd probably say maybe a little bit more than 9 or 10.
Yeah, and he's a junior, so right. So that's the Project Lead the Way Thank You program. I'm gonna talk a little bit about after school activities, and then you're gonna hear from one of our students talk about 2 of our most popular activities. So right now we don't know which clubs and activities are going to run and whether we'll be able to hold these clubs and activities in person at this time. Of course, these decisions are gonna be made based on funding and also the CDC's and the Stanford Department of Health's recommendations and guidelines. I will say I'm optimistic that we've been moving in a positive trajectory. As you know, Stanford eliminated the hybrid model for the high schools on April 19th, and students were given the option to come back 5 days in person, or if they were nervous to go fully remote. And I'm happy to say that the majority of our students came back to 5 days. And, kids are getting vaccinated, staff is getting vaccinated. We're just moving in a positive trajectory. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do more things in person. So things like even the labs where manipulatives are shared and things like that, that we will find safe ways to do that. Most of our clubs, what I really love about AITE is the majority of our clubs and activities were created or generated because of student interest. Students would come to me with an idea, write out a proposal, get an advisor, and we would find a way to make it happen. This year, we had to hold our clubs virtually, so it was a lot more difficult, but nevertheless, kids did meet, and you're going to hear about debate momentarily, and they rocked it, like competitions and everything. They were able to compete with people that they probably wouldn't have with a traditional program where you're limited by, how far you can travel. This year, a student introduced to AIT a new club called Operation Smile. So if you wanted to see, for example, a list of this year's clubs and activities, if you went to the homepage of our website, aitestanford.org, and you went under the students tab and then look for student activities, you could see what was offered this year. Here are just a few clubs and activities. We do have a student government. Our officers are selected usually the end of October every year. And we have a debate team. You're going to hear about that. You heard Danette talk about the Future Business Leaders of America, which is a very successful club, even though it's newly instituted at our school. They actually many of the students have placed in competitions. You're going to hear about the Mayor's Youth Leadership Club. We have National Honor Society. We have Spanish National Honor Society, a music society, a Slavic society, a science society. I know I'm missing things, but we have a lot of clubs and activities is the point. So I'm here to talk about two, as I said, probably of our most popular activities. The first being the Mayor's Youth Leadership Council is Aishwarya. Aishwarya, do you want to introduce yourself and also your grade, please, and talk a little bit about milk first?
Yes, entirely. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So to introduce myself very quickly, my name is Aishwarya Sivasubramanian, and I am currently a junior here at AITE. Now, before I say anything further, I'd like to preface it by saying that my past 3 years at AIT were everything I could have dreamed of and more. I really, really, really love it here. So now to talk more about Milk. I'm on the executive board for the Mayor's Youth Leadership Council, which is Milk for short. And we are a huge club at AIT, amassing almost 80 to 90 members this year. And we're one of the largest youth activism organizations in Connecticut. And at AITE, Milk focuses on mental health, sexual assault awareness, and suicide prevention. Now, our goal is to end stigmas and show everyone that these are things that need to be talked about. Now, I know firsthand how rough this past year has been on students. Their mental health's plummeted. Now, fingers crossed this COVID mess is nearing its end, but if there was anything that this last year has taught us, it's how important mental health awareness is. Now, everyone at Milk has a passion for social change and a passion for activism. In normal years, we'd set up a table at lunch with literature, games, candy, information about different aspects of our three main topics, and members of Milk are firsthand participants in creating the change. The community of Milk members at AIT is extremely large. For a school of about 650, having about 80 students in one club is a good portion of our school. And so therefore, it is a great club to meet people in. We meet every other Thursday after school with many opportunities for leadership positions and outreach events as well, if that's something that you're into. And the upperclassmen executive members are extremely helpful. They're what inspired me to become one myself last year. Now, being almost done with my third year in the club and second year on the board, I can confidently say that Milk is one of the most influential clubs at our school, and we like to hone in on talents. If you like to draw, you can come help us make posters. If you're a writer, you can help us with our literature. If you like to publicly speak, you can come help us with our demonstration. Now, whether it's helping one person destigmatize their own mental health, going on Board of Ed calls to help get a policy approved, or educating a lunch table, participation in Milk is not like other clubs. You know you're making a difference when you do. And that's one of the most important things about Milk is we make a difference. And it's one of the biggest clubs at our school and honestly, one of my favorite, if I have to say that.
Thank you. And she's going to stay there because now I'd like her to talk a little bit about our award-winning debate club. So
yes.
There's Kevin, there's Ashwarya right there, and two other students. So go ahead. I didn't mean to embarrass you, but
you're all good, all good. Yes. So, I mean, part of my experience at AIT, honestly, for the past 3 years has been debate. Public speaking, in my opinion, is one of the most important skills that anybody can have. Being put into an unfamiliar situation, but being able to communicate your ideas and to talk to people, that is a skill greater than any quantitative skill you could get. And now that's the gift that debate has given me. From an outside perspective, I see how debate may just seem like arguing, but that isn't all that it is. You're given a topic and you're required to use critical thinking and collaboration skills quickly and effectively to create a case to help you argue both sides of the topic. Being able to successfully support an argument that you may personally disagree with is something we do often in debate. Understanding the nuances of the topic, along with the ability to persuade an unbiased third party, and doing it all within an hour's time is not an easy feat, but it is a rewarding one. As a freshman coming into a brand new school full of people I didn't know, joining clubs was the best way to meet everybody. Debate is a community. The upperclassmen were ready to jump up and give me their knowledge. They were ready to help when I needed it, whether it was debate or just a question about high school. And that's something I now look forward to doing for hopefully your kids next year when they join debate. My ability to talk to you all right now is also as a result of debate. And as freshmen, your kids can join the debate club, which meets twice a week after school for debate practice. And here they'll learn how to properly debate and gain confidence along the way. But also they can take the debate and rhetoric class that's offered at AIT, which I took my sophomore year. This is also extremely beneficial, especially to those who have busy schedules and wouldn't necessarily be able to make practices otherwise. Now, even if they don't plan on competing in the tournaments, which happen monthly with a few extras sprinkled in between, public speaking is a vital skill, and having confidence in yourself and your abilities guarantees you a good track throughout high school. Now, for both of these clubs, I'd also like to really quickly mention, I just talked about 2 clubs, and like Mr. Rivera said, these are some of our main clubs at AITE. A lot of our debaters, as you can see with the photo up there, have made it to states this year and all the previous years. The wall that she shows there is all the accomplishments of all of our debaters. Debating is a really big thing at our school, considering we don't really have sports. Obviously, your kids can play for their home school, but we don't have sports. Debating is sort of our sport, as corny as that sounds. But even with that, we have so many other clubs. Mr. Vera mentioned Operation Smile, FBLA, Interact, Red Cross Club. We have so many different clubs. And if there isn't a club already made that your kids want to do, oh, there's Interact. And there's
you on the end?
That is me. That is me on the end. I found so many photos. Yes. Okay. Well, Interact. Yep. This is a club. Yep, I run this club as well. We do volunteering. This year with COVID, it's obviously been hard. We have a food drive running right now, and we're going to do a clothing drive hopefully as well. But in past years, we would set up a blood drive. As you can see, the Red Cross van would pull up by our school, and people of age would be able to sign and go donate their blood if they were able to.
Right. Thanks, Ashwarya. I really appreciate it. So actually, all of the students that spoke tonight, I'm not, well, Mahi's on student government, but they're in multiple things, debate and you name it. Like, you know, that's an old picture of when we could do the blood drive. So I was like, oh, that's Ashwarya right there. So, but they all do lots of different things, and community service is an AITE requirement. So your child, by the time they graduate, should have a minimum of 50 service hours. And to be honest with you, if you spoke to most students, honestly, once they get involved, you'll see that they exceed that number greatly. So the Interact is our school service club and a way for kids to get involved, but students can, there's lots of other opportunities for service in our school. Thank you everyone that spoke tonight. I honestly, you know, could have them speak about everything, because really, like I said, there are vision of the graduate like materialize, like poster young adults, because they're not really children anymore. They've, you know, matured. And for those of you who have kids in high school, you know, like in 9th grade to the time they're, you know, as they progress to the time they're seniors, they really do, the time goes by fast and they really grow up. So thank you all of you who spoke tonight. It was a pleasure to hear you speak. So now this part is not as exciting. as our student presenters, but I wanted to give you some details that will hopefully be helpful to those of you who your children don't walk or you're not able to bring them to school. So transportation is important, and we are an interdistrict magnet high school. So we have students in addition to those who reside in Stanford all over Fairfield County. So the thing is that they don't release information about buses until we get closer to the start of the school year. So you will get something from the transportation department about that. And students in Bridgeport or other districts who live close to the train where we don't have a bus. So for example, Norwalk, you're not eligible for train passes because Norwalk does provide school buses for their students. But students primarily from Bridgeport will get a train pass while they attend AITE. You will receive a form from Penny in the main office so that we can register you to receive this monthly pass. Penny, who I'll show you the picture, many of you have already spoken to her in the main office, is the person to really speak to if you have transportation questions. The school also enjoys many other services. So we have a wonderful school nurse, who I'll talk about momentarily, Cynthia Vera. She's bilingual. And we have a school-based health center run by Family Centers of Stanford. They actually are housed in Rippewam because we're on the campus of Rippewam Middle School, but our students have access to the health center. You just have to sign up, which you will receive forms to do that before the school year starts. At the school-based health center, your child can access a nurse practitioner, a social worker. There is an office support specialist, Ms. Anderson, who schedules appointments for the students. There also are psychiatric services if necessary. That's in addition to the support services within our own buildings. So Nurse Vera is in our building. We also have a school social worker and a school psychologist. Mary Hedayat Critchlow is our social worker, and Dr. Rachel Bria is our school psychologist. We also, because as Ashwarya said, mental health is so important. When we talk about the mind, body, and heart, we can't ignore, the mental health. It's so important. And so AITE actually invests funding to support a teen talk counselor from Kids in Crisis. We have somebody who replaced our former one recently, and her name is Evie Efanayi. She's wonderful. I've spoken to students because that's where I really get the skinny on things. I just go right to the source, and they really enjoy her. And she works with families as well. So she's housed in the school counseling suite. Students can sign up by appointment. Sometimes friends will bring their friend if they know that they're going through a crisis and they don't want it to escalate. This is Nurse Vera, and she wanted me to remind you that it is a state requirement that all freshmen have to have a current physical on file, and that means one within this year, calendar year. If you have any questions, you can email her. She's C. Vera, and I'm going to make this presentation available to everyone. And you can also call the main office and ask for her, or that's her direct extension. You'll get information about, for example, students aren't allowed to take medicine, even, like Advil or anything on their own. There are forms that have to be filled out, and you'll get all that information as we get closer to the school year from Penny. We have a wonderful security team. Robbie Jenkins is on the right, and he's been with us pretty much for just about 2 decades. And this year, just recently, because we've always had 2 members of a security team, but there were significant cuts at the beginning of the school year, and also with some students in fully, the DTLA, which is fully remote, and the hybrid model, they felt that they could reduce us to 1, which we lived with. But now that we're back to the 5-day in-person learning for those families who chose that, we did get back a security person, and we were fortunate to get Mrs. Ramona Spinelli, who, if you have any children at West Hill, or if your children play sports at West Hill, you may have seen her there. She used to be there, but she requested to be at AITE. So she's joined us. We have a Stanford Police officer who works in the building as a school resource officer. We call it our SRO program, and his name is Officer Brown. We have over 40 security cameras throughout the building, some which can project as far into our school student parking lot. And I think students would tell you we have a very safe school. Part of that is because students they want a safe environment. And so I would say, you know, a lot of times with social media, right, we don't really know what's happening outside of school. We are not on student accounts. So sometimes a student or students will see something that's, you know, essentially cyberbullying, or they'll see a student who may be, you know, exhibiting like maybe be very depressed, and they will alert a staff member. I mean, they're really, really good about those things. And we're able to, because of that, we're so fortunate and able to maintain a safe environment. Now, we do work with kids. And while I certainly believe there are no bad students, you know, obviously kids are learning how to make good decisions, and sometimes they don't always make good decisions, just like adults. So we do have mediations. We're going to be learning how to officially do circles as part of a restorative practice. And so kids will get more information on that next year. And families, and that's Officer Brown. So Officer Brown is in the building and he is on the campus. There is another officer at Rippewam, Officer Frank, Heather Frank, and they kind of tag team. If one is out, the other will kind of monitor both schools. They're very proactive. They like to work with students. You know, pre-pandemic, there was an issue with vaping, like period, with teenagers in general, and AITE was not immune to that, so to speak. But I know Officer Brown was working with students to try to get them into programs and other things. So a lot of things that he does are very proactive with students to help them out. And then Mrs. Renovales is a former parent of two graduates, and she is our parent liaison. She also works in the school counseling department, so she can help parents with Parent Portal, which is a feature of Power School. She can help them with Naviance. She is bilingual, so she can help with any kind of Spanish translation. And you'll have her contact information in this presentation as well. And speaking of the school counseling department, we have 4 amazing school counselors. And so their caseload, as Aishwarya said, we're probably around 650 on average on a school year, anywhere from 685 to, like, this is a little bit low because of our DTLA students, but 625 this year. And so each counselor's caseload is, you know, maybe about 175 students, which is actually low for school counseling caseloads. So they're able to try to maximize the student interaction that they can have. The kids are broken by alpha pretty much. So that's the breakdown of counselors. So you can see by your child's last name who your child will have as his or her counselor next year. And these are my wonderful right-hand people in the main office, Penny Jontamides and Carolyn Marr. Penny also had 2 children who graduated from AITE. I won't say many, many years ago, but a long time ago. I almost had the opportunity to have one as a student, so I was still teaching, and that is a long time ago. But in any event, you've probably already spoken to one or both of them, so you know they're amazing, so helpful, and you know, like I said, Penny's been with us for many years. Carolyn joined our staff. God, again, with the pandemic, it feels much longer, but I think she's only really been there a year or 2. I know our former person, Susan Baxter, we miss her a lot, but she retired, I think, 2 Novembers ago, or last November. It's all a blur right now. But those are our wonderful office support specialists. This is really important, really, 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 really. Penny asked me to really, really reinforce this, but please make sure that the email that we have on file for you is the one that you're going to want to receive important information that's going to be sent to you throughout the school year. The district really does little, if any. We haven't done any mailings this year. We've been asked everything. Your child's quote unquote report card is really live through Power School. the parent portal. So all of these things, there's really no mailing. So we want to make sure we have the right email. A lot of times when you sign up, you know, you maybe change your email and you don't really use that one anymore. And then all of a sudden you're not receiving anything from us because you haven't alerted us that you would like to receive it at a different email. So please, if you haven't gotten anything from Penny yet, then we don't have your email that you're using on file. So check with her. She said, if you haven't received anything yet from her, because she has been in contact with families either about registration or other things. So I mentioned PowerSchool and Naviance. Again, we're going to be emailing these credentials to you with the email address that you supplied. So please make sure it's the one that you want to use. Parent portal, again, for those of you who don't know what it is, although if you came to the Stanford Public School middle school, then you probably already have an account. But parent portal gives parents access to their children's grades and attendance. So you can see that. You can put an app on your phone and look at it. Naviance is a site for students and parents that uses software tools that personalize and simplify the college and career planning process. So it's a good tool. Students, there are different tasks that that students use Naviance for throughout each grade level. And obviously when they're seniors, it becomes a place where they can, you know, upload college recommendations and their common app and all these other things. But you have to register to use both of these sites. Our school's website is a great place to get lots of information and announcements. Our school's calendar is there, which does become important because a lot of times people are like, is it an A day? Is it a B day? Which I'll go into in a second. But all that information is right on our school's website. If you want to email a teacher, myself or Mrs. Colmenares, or a staff member, all you have to do is use their first initial, their last name, followed by stanfordct.gov. I'm a little confusing because on the stanfordct.gov email, I'm M. Rivera, but on the, what's the other one? stanfordpublicschools.org, I'm T. But you'll get all this information. You'll get a staff directory. I think that's online as well. Okay, so this is probably what a lot of you may have questions about. So I'm going to try to give you some information tonight, and you'll get this PowerPoint to look at as well. If your child currently attends a Stanford Public Schools middle school, your child's school counselor right now, their 8th grade counselor, is going to help them select their courses. So if you have any questions about that, contact your child's counselor. It probably has already been done, but you can look into that if you are not sure. If your child does not attend the Stanford Public Schools middle school, you should complete the course selection form that Penny emailed to you. Once again, if you did not receive it, it means either we don't have your correct email on file, or she said it could mean that you haven't completed the registration process. In either case, she said to please call or email her so she can help you with that. So all students in grades 9, 10, and 11 will register for 8 courses. And you're going to take 4 courses on an A day and 4 courses on a B day. So you're going to register for an English, a math, a social studies. Your science is conceptual physics in 9th grade, and which is different from physics. So don't say, oh my goodness, these kids are getting physics in 9th grade. It's a foundation course, and it's aligned with our STEAM theme. So they will get that in 9th grade. They will take a world language. You heard in our mission statement about being able to participate in our global society. Well, you know, how can you do that, or how can you do it well if you only speak one language? And I know that many homes in Stanford, especially where it's very diverse, speak at least more than one language. And at school, you have an opportunity to become proficient in one of our other languages that we offer. Kids will also get a semester of health and physical education. For their graduation requirement, they need to have 1 credit of each. So they'll get, ideally, they'll get a semester of PE and health in their freshman year, and then the final semester of PE and health in their sophomore year. If scheduling wise, they can't get, let's say, health, then they would get a full year, perhaps a phys ed this year, and the next year they would get a full year of health. And then they'll get to choose 2 elective courses. I'm not going to read all this, but I'm going to send this. And basically it's on the course selection sheet, and it's what the middle school Stanford counselors go over with the 8th graders, that these are the options for kids. So like in social studies, they're going to either take what's called CP, college prep, social studies 9, or honors social studies 9. Same thing in English, either English 9 or CP or honors. Math is a little bit different because it really depends on what students are currently taking. And here's the thing, honors and CP geometry are only open to students who have completed high school algebra 1 with a B or higher in 8th grade. Anything less, they will not be successful. They're going to be at a deficit. So it will not hurt them to retake algebra 1 if they got a C or less. And their world language offerings are Spanish, French, Mandarin, Chinese, Russian, or Latin. And then the electives, you can check our program of studies, which is online, or the course selection sheet to see what electives are open. For example, you heard about the Project Lead the Way biomedical and the pre-engineering program. So if that's something that your child might be interested in, those would be examples of electives. There are art electives, there are business electives, technology electives, music electives, lots of electives to choose from. Don't worry if your child doesn't get, if your children don't get their first choice this year, or even second choice. When you have 8 courses each year, the state's minimum requirement for the graduating class of 2025 is 25 credits. So there you go, 25 credits. But obviously if they took 8 classes every year, then they would have 32. So they're going to be in a good place. And most seniors will, many seniors, I shouldn't say most, because some pack them in up to the last minute, but some seniors will ask for 1 free period and sometimes 2, which is like the 6 is the minimum that I would grant a senior. But the reason is they have to be, first of all, in good academic standing. Potentially they're working or they're taking college classes on NCC or another campus, or, you know, they're taking such a rigorous course load that they need 1 period of respite so they can study, get ready for the college application process, those kind of things. But meanwhile, kids in grades 9 through 11 should be taking 8 classes. Also, if your child has an IEP, obviously one of the classes that they have to register for is what's called IED at our school, as one of their electives. And then there will be a situation if you're a Stanford Public Schools person, you may know your children have taken in grades, I think 6th, 7th, and 8th. I know definitely in 7th and 8th, the reading inventory and the math inventory, and those are their assessments to determine students' Lexile scores or pre-algebra ready skills. And if they don't score a certain level, we provide a support class, and students are still going to get Algebra 1, so they really, really need these support classes. So the counselor will either schedule for them, or based on the end of the year data, we may schedule students for that. So if that happens, we will let you know what that is. We'll remind you, but that's something that we are highly recommending in order for the student to get a good start in high school. Laptops, well, we've always been a one-to-one laptop or one-to-one computing school, but with the pandemic and remote and distance learning, pretty much everyone is using technology. It is a tool. It doesn't replace learning, but it does allow students access to primary resources, lots of different other things. I know debate was able to compete against people in other states, correct? Like things that you normally wouldn't have been able to do without that technology. So it's also a double-edged sword, right? I mean, I have parents of freshmen many times saying that, you know, well, I'm getting a lot of emails from my children's teachers that they're on different sites and things like that. And what we say is, you know, we are trying to teach students about the ethical and appropriate use of technology. So we really don't restrict a lot of websites. I mean, obviously anything that's really inappropriate, you know, gambling, drugs, you know, major things, those are banned across the district. But YouTube. Well, that's also something that teachers use as a teaching resource and things like that. So it's a balance, and we will call to your attention if we feel that students aren't using it appropriately, because we want to partner with you to help get them on the right path. But in order for them to actually be able to use, whether it's your own laptop device that you supply them with or the schools, you will have to sign an acceptable use policy on the parent portal. So again, please make sure that you have the right email so you get your credentials if you don't already have an account. A typical day at AITE, I mentioned our A-B schedule, and it alternates. I think today was a B day, so tomorrow will be an A day. Yes, okay. And we have on a regular day, we have 4 classes. They're 88-minute periods, which gives students a lot of time to do labs, to work in groups, to really kind of break up a class. I know in a traditional, like in Stanford High and West Hill, where their periods are shorter, or when they want to have a lab, they have to have a special schedule. It's more confusing. Like, kids are really good with this, and it really kind of mirrors what they'll experience in college or even work. I mean, nobody stops a task after 40 minutes or 45 minutes and moves on to something else. So it prepares them for college and careers. They'll have a 29-minute lunch break, student-centered classwork with technology integrated into the various courses. And as I mentioned earlier, a very safe and secure school environment. Okay, so I know everybody's dying for tours this year, but unfortunately, it's not safe and not allowed right now. We don't have any parents, even current parents, unfortunately, in the building this year at all. So I'm showing you right now some things that we're dealing with, the current reality of returning 5 days in person. So, you'll see directional arrows, tape down staircases and things like that. The kids have been amazing from day one with adhering to all of the safety protocols. So that's our main staircase. And for those of you who haven't been in our building, it's surrounded by a big atrium where you see many different flags from different countries displayed. Parents have donated them from their countries. We've gotten some. So it's a very impressive place right now. It serves as one of our several lunch areas, since we're not able to eat, everyone's not able to eat in our traditional cyber cafeteria, because we have to make sure that we're maintaining 6 feet distance for social distancing. This is on the right, a classroom where we're not able to maintain 6 feet of distance. Right now, we're able to maintain 4, which does still exceed the CDC's 3-foot recommendation. This is our gym, believe it or not. It is used as one of our lunch areas. We have space for 60 kids in there. The kids are going outside when it's good weather. They're not really able, or just starting to be able, to use shared equipment with certain protocols and guidelines. That's our atrium on the left there, with desks for lunch now. We have an outdoor patio and fields. There is a tent right now for outdoor seating. I'm not sure if that's really going to be in place next year, but it was this year to kind of increase our seating and our ability to spread kids out safely at 6 feet apart. Because when we do that, if the kids are, not talking with their masks off and things like that, then we don't have to quarantine. A lot of people have asked about summer reading. So every year except for last year, and I've been with the school, in fact, I was one of the 2 teachers that created the requirement, but we came up with a one book, one community summer reading initiative. And other schools have had this, throughout Connecticut, but we wanted to bring it to AITE. So everybody reads the same book over the summer. And then the second book, they get to choose their own. So here's the thing about this book. We've never done this. So we recycled a book that no student has read, no class has read. But our teachers read this maybe five or 6 years ago when it first came out. They loved it. And this year, if anybody's read it, I know there's a movie, but the movie is not the same as the book. We will know if you watched the movie and didn't read the book. But there's a sequel. And we're all like, all the teachers, like a lot of them, I should say, are excited because they want to read the sequel this summer. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to read the one this year, and then maybe next summer, the Ready Player 2, or kids, if they really love it, can get the second book as well and read it as their second book. But in any event, this is the book that everyone will read, and then they get to choose their second book. And then the English teachers are determining what summer reading assignment they want to have for this year, and it'll be posted to our website before they leave school by June 18th. All right. So you can purchase this book. It's available in paperback. It's also available as an audiobook. There is a movie. I'm certainly sure like some kids may have already seen it, but they really should read the book because there are significant differences. And teachers are going to ask English teachers for quotes and other things. So they're going to want to read the book. Anybody who has questions about IEPs or 504 plans, if you don't know what those are, then they're probably not relevant to you. But if you have any questions about IEPs or 504s, Christina Colmenares, Mrs. Colmenares, who you met, my assistant principal, she is the special education administrator, so you can email her. We have a wonderful resource department, resource team, and our school counselors can answer your questions about 504 plans, which 504 plans do have to be updated annually. So you can have a conversation with them about that. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll implement the current 504 as long as it's something that can be implemented, and to just schedule a meeting to revise or update it, after like letting a little bit of time pass with school to see what other accommodations your child might need. All right, and winding down, there will be a freshman orientation for students for freshmen on Friday, August 27th. I know that seems a long time away, but time is flying by. So it is, this is the date, Friday, August 27th. We will follow a half-day schedule, or students will, I should say. We don't know right now, let's just put it this way, when in previous years, pre-pandemic, the PTSO has had like a welcome coffee or something for parents for the morning. We separate you from your children because for those of you who don't have kids who have gone through high school or in high school now, your kids are growing up and they kind of want to separate a little bit. So the PTSO will, if they are able to, I know they usually do a coffee or something for families, and the kids would be meeting with me and counselors and other people in our CAF. But again, we don't really know what the format will be until we know what restrictions will be lifted, which we're hoping. Again, I remain optimistic that we're moving in a positive direction. So here we are at the end of our presentation. Our motto is empowering students to shape their future. So you heard from some wonderful students tonight, very articulate. I meant to say that I really highly agree with Aishwarya that debate is an elective, and I really would like to make it a requirement because it is a really, really, really important skill. And public speaking, I read somewhere, is the #1 fear that people have, like more than airplane crashes, more than snakes and spiders and creepy crawlers, public speaking. So I think it's a great class. It fits into our mission. It prepares students to become effective communicators, critical thinkers, as she mentioned, all those great things that have happened as a result of her taking that class and then having the confidence to be a part of the team. So please consider that. And look, hey, it worked out for Nick. Nick's mom signed him up for Project Lead the Way, and look where he is now. So, if you sign your kid up for debate, who knows where they may be in a year from now. So that is the end of my presentation, and we are a little bit over. I am going to have Penny send this to everybody. Are there any few quick questions? Because actually, I'd prefer that you put them in the chat so I can do maybe a frequently asked questions, but I can take a few now as well. Any questions? We good? Okay. There's one.
You know, someone asked in the chat about how do we find out about sports at Stanford High or sports events?
So sports at Stanford High, you contact the athletic director at Stanford High, who is Chris Passamano. So if you call Stanford High and ask for their athletic director, they'll give you that information. They'll tell you when, because the tryouts and everything at the schools are different dates. I mean, they both need some sort of blue card physical, but you really need to speak to athletic directors. Please don't put that pressure on our school because, you know, just like they don't know our AB schedule, we have no idea what their athletic schedule is. So, but contact the athletic directors. If you call the main office of the school and just ask for them, they will be able to assist you. Anybody else? Yeah, call Penny, but there is one train that you have to catch that gets you to the station on time to take the bus that will take you to AITE. And at the end of the day, you just jump on the bus. You'll know before school starts, and then you would just go down to the train station. No uniform requirement. You're in a public school, so I know, you know, for some people that'd be a lot easier. I went to parochial school from kindergarten through 6th grade. And so it was easy, but oh my God, in 7th grade, I just, closed. So, do we recommend that the electives align and remain within? No. So the thing is I think high school is a time of exploration. So electives are a good time to discover what your child's interests are. I have a student who graduated a few years ago who real bright kid, but just really not motivated for the first 2 years. And, you know, kept getting emails from the family. And I'm like, you know, it's hard to motivate someone, you know, they have to kind of have it. Like intrinsic is much more, works better than extrinsic for most people. So one day, and he tells this story, but, and his teacher's aware of it too, but he was watching a video, something to do with bees and pollination and all this other stuff. And he just became very fascinated with it and wanted to learn more. And it was an entrepreneurship class, which is another amazing class at AITE. And he ended up learning how to be a beekeeper and developing a honey company. And it's very successful. Like he was making like really good money in his junior and senior year, and he's continuing with that business. So that just woke him up. Became his passion, and who knew? He didn't know, we didn't know, you never know. So it's a good time to explore. So we don't know about distance learning. We don't know about any of that. To be honest with you, I hope there isn't, because for many students, it's been very challenging and they're not getting what they could in an in-person experience. But, you know, there could be perhaps medical conditions or other things that warrant that consideration. It won't be a school decision. This is a district decision and in consultation with the health department. So the NCC and these other classes are not even an option for kids until they're juniors. So there are opportunities for college credit, but we need to get these kids through 9th and 10th grade. And that's the preparation for some of these courses. And so nothing to know about right now. For freshman community, can they be introduced to other students? I mean, the Bridgeport kids will meet each other on the bus and the train. If the Fairfield kids ride the train, that's how they'll meet each other too. I mean, you know, right now we can't even bring kids together in kind of avenues. So, you know, we will figure it out when we know what hand we're dealt for next year. And we didn't know up until the very last minute, as you guys know, for this past year. It was really crazy. No sports. I think one of the students mentioned we don't have an athletic program, and this is wonderful. The reason we don't is because we invested in lots of other things, technology and other things. And because of that, our students can play at their district schools. If we had one sport, let's say we just did soccer, because kids love soccer, then their kids could not play basketball, football, cheerleading, all the other wonderful sports that they play. So no sports. And I've been here for 20 years. That's been a good thing. We don't know if there'll be transportation for sports. This year there wasn't, because the kids could jump on the 205 bus because sports weren't allowed to start before 3 o'clock so that everybody could get there. So we don't know for next year. A lot of times for, other schools, the parents have to, when they're young, pick them up or, write letters saying you can carpool, we'll carpool with these parents and my kid can leave with these parents and vice versa. So those are all kinds of things that happen. I want to say thank you, everybody. I'm so sorry I can't see you because I'm such a visual person, but I look forward to the time where I can meet you, shake your hand, just see your smiles. So you're very welcome. I know some of you haven't eaten yet, myself included, so kind of get you off really quickly. If you have other questions, just put them in the chat and we will, with the presentation that I sent out, we will kind of have a frequently asked question section. Okay, I don't think I missed anything else. All right, so, and thank you, students. You guys are amazing. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're coming from Glenbrook, are you a bus or train? Again, I don't know bus information. Call Penny. I think it's 3 miles if you're a high school student. You have to be like farther than 3 miles, but you can call Penny about that. Hi, Mrs. Cologne. Mrs. Cologne sent her children to us. She's a teacher, one of our wonderful teachers at AITE. I saw a bunch of PTSO parents. Thank you for coming out to support today. Amazing students. Yes, I agree. Thank you. That's a heart. We love our amazing students. Those are going to be your kids. All right. Take care. Good night, everyone. I'm gonna log off now. Okay. Thanks, everybody, again. Good night.